Hello, we're live.
We're live. Look,
We're
live. Live.
It's true. We're real and alive.
And we both have lipstick on this week. Hello, Timmy.
Hi, Vivi. How are you?
I'm great. I'm at my waterfront office again.
Very nice too.
How's that for thriving beyond surviving the Australian internet?
Yes.
Problems into possibilities.
Exactly. So we are very excited because we've got the first of 3 calls happening tonight. It's called Survival or Thrival, from problems to possibilities. Oh, sorry, there were just like 5 birds that just flew past my window in a really beautiful way. So yeah, we kind of wanted to come on here and just have a little bit of a chat about, what's kind of shown up in our worlds with, how some areas of our lives where we've been in survival mode and have been able to move through it and to a place of thrival. And also, like, what's it like to be in survival mode? What goes on around you, what happens with your body. And I saw you actually posted something today, Viv, which I really liked, which was giving a bit of an explanation of what kind of goes on when you're in that survival mode.
Yeah, I mean, on a physiological level, because most people are in survival mode and they've got no concept because they've been in it for so long. And it's like this heightened sense of, agitation and stress. But what happens physiologically is your adrenal glands are pumping out more cortisol, which is like it's this fight flight cycle, worrying and stressing and being anxious and being in a heightened state of reactivity. And when you're in that place, you've totally disconnected from your ability to create, because it becomes such an ingrained habit and pattern that until you start, like when most people go on a holiday, takes them 3 or 4 days to unwind, and then they go, there's a sense of space and a sense of peace. And often people get sick on a holiday, or, oh my God, I'm so exhausted, I can't do anything. Yeah, that's because your body is actually starting to come back to some kind of, normal way of functioning, because we're not designed to be in permanent survival or fight flight mode. So, are you in survival with your body? Do your shoulders get tense? And these are some really basic things, but do you grind your teeth? Are you frowning a lot of the time? Or are you, pursing your mouth? Or you walking with fast and holding your muscles tight? Your mind's racing all the time. There's all these incredible messages that your body is trying to get through to you. But again, when you're in survival mode, we're often so disconnected from our environment and our body that we don't even realize the toll that's taking on us.
Yeah, it's even as you're talking, I realized that, and I realized this at quite an early age too, that my mother, who, is a wonderful lady and wonderful mother, but she very much functions from this place of survival mode, and even her body, and me being around her my entire life and me being as aware as I am, my body learned just to function like that. And I started to realize, wow, I'm not even stressed about stuff, but I have this kind of physiological kind of stress in my world. So, it's like meditation actually was one thing that started to allow me to have the space really to notice the places where I was holding my body in rigid ways, or, and again, my mother is one of those people who kind of functions from, we were brought up largely from that place of don't do this, because if you do that, something bad is going to happen. It's like her way of caring is to make sure that nothing bad happens. So she's always like, don't do anything that could be scary or that could mean that you hurt yourselves or anything like that. So I grew up with that, like, oh my God, be safe. Don't take too many, big leaps forward because it's not safe to do so. So, you know, in kind of, yeah, and kind of growing up like that, I've then as an adult had to learn, like, when I take those big leaps, which I know that I'm safe, I know that there's always something possible beyond where I'm currently functioning. Having trouble speaking today. But, you know, when you're playing in that safe space of, no, I've just got to make sure that I survive, and I've got to make sure that if I'm trying to survive, then I'm not going to do risky things that could actually catapult me into a whole different space where you can thrive in a very different way.
That's a really good point too, Tiff, because we don't, if you've decided X, Y, or Z is safe, so that part of you goes, okay, I'm safe here, or this is predictable and I'm comfortable. And yet that other part of you is either bored, or you want more, or you're trying to reach for more, or become greater, or earn more money, or have a better relationship, or a quality of life. These two points of view kind of get stuck together. So you kind of create this fight within yourself as to, okay, well, I know there's more and I'd love to have more, but in big capital letters, that pattern, that conditioning that you don't even know a lot of the time is running the actual show, come into loggerheads together. So how do you go beyond that? How do you create beyond that? How do you actually give yourself that space and permission to go, it's okay to change, because most people, the word change terrifies the pants off them. They think that something's, oh my God, most people have a reference point that changes. Oh my God, what if it gets worse? Or what if I lose something? Or what if this is the worst choice I've ever made? So they use that as a stopping point. And so again, our being desires more. Our very being is a creative, energy. And so when we, you don't watch a tree just capping itself. It's like, oh, it won't grow any bigger because I don't want to, stand out too much, or I don't want to give the other trees issues because I'm too big, or I don't want to give too much fruit to everybody. It's like nature doesn't do that. It doesn't go into survival mode. It's just constantly in this place of reaching and being. So what else is possible in regards to thriving, being aware of, being willing to have tools or have the information that actually empowers you when those patterns come up into your body, that you can recognize it, not make it wrong, not fight it, but create a different choice and use the tools that will actually facilitate that journey to become so much easier. So, and something else you pinged as well for me, Tiff. It's like, what's changed for me is the biggest change I can see is my body. Like when I first started using the tools of access, literally weekly or fortnightly, I was going to a chiropractor. I was going to a massage therapist because I was constantly in pain. And I'd feel good. My body would be great for a day, 2 days, 3 days, and then straight back into the pattern. And it wasn't until I started to really go, this is insane. The chiropractor was saying, oh, you need to come every week or every fortnight for the next 12 weeks. I'm like, that's not actually true for my body and I. But if I didn't have that awareness, I would make his awareness greater than mine and put my body into a position that it was saying, you know what, I don't actually need this. Yeah, maybe a few adjustments, but there's another way for me to be with my body. And then when I started to get aware of the patterns that I was choosing that were perpetuating the survival mode and the stress and the anxiety and the worry, once I could address that part of it, my body started to change. So it's like chicken or the egg. Your body's actually showing you and trying to get you to be aware and take steps to change what you're doing with your body. But then if you also become aware of the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, the reactions, the patterns, the habits, that actually they tag team each other, they pass the baton. If you become aware of the thoughts and everything that goes on in here, and you can be present with that, make a different choice, do you get that would create a significant change in your body and actually rewrite how you function with your body in your life? Easy.
Easy. And it is actually way easier than you think. And, it's like whose reality or how many people's realities are you using to create the survival mode that you're choosing? It's one of the biggest things I think that changed this for me was realizing that you got to make the choice first. Like I was always doing that thing of, even before I came across, these tools, these access consciousness tools, I was living in a way that was like really not looking too far into the future of my creations. I was just like, I just am doing my thing to pay the bills, and so that created a situation when I wanted to try and change things and do things differently in my life. I was like, I don't know how I can do that. So I was like, I have to have everything lined up and ready first before I can make the change, rather than recognizing that your choice creates the change and your awareness creates the change. So it's like, what is thrival? What is thrival to you? What would that be like? What would that feel like? What would you have in your world and in your life now if you were thriving that you don't currently have? And are you willing to ask for those things and know that you can have them?
Great question, Tiff. What is thriving for you? And I just as you were talking, I'm like, oh, we've got a gardenia bush at home at the moment I've kind of rescued it, and it's died almost a few times and come back to life, and it's just about ready to bloom. And I said to Andrew, there's something, I could just sense there was something that this plant was getting a bit, its energy was depleting, and I just looked at it, and it had caterpillars, and they're little sneaky buggers. They kind of hide under the leaves and they wrap the leaves around them, and they nibbled all these beautiful buds that were just about to come out. They've nibbled little holes into, like, I don't know, probably half of them. I'm like, you little buggers. But I'm like, no, this is the plant showing me. It's like, okay, I was thriving a week ago, but something's changed. And I went, okay. So I look at nature, it's like, well, what is thriving? And so for me, you'll see things that thrive, bushes and flowers. I mean, we're in spring in Australia, and everything's starting to come out into bloom. The bulbs are coming out of the earth, and the new blossoms are on the trees, and we've got fruit starting to grow on the trees, and the buzzy bees are around. It's like there's this energy of this thrival that if you become aware of it, for me, it's like, okay, there's thrival right in front of me. This plant was struggling, so I just ask it a few questions, as you do, and it starts to show you what it is. So with your body, what would it be like for you to thrive with your body? What if you could create your body how you desire it to be, but you don't have to force it, you don't have to starve it, you don't have to judge it? That there's a totally different way of you and your body thriving with your relationship. What if your finances could thrive? How would that look be different for you?
And one of the things that you were just saying, which I love about nature, is there is so much that would like for us to be thriving too. Like consciousness is all around us in everything, and it's like consciousness would like more consciousness, and it likes to contribute to consciousness. So it's like, which of the two energies between surviving or survival mode and thriving matches consciousness more? And it's like there is a world, universes of possibilities of contribution that just would like to, but you've got to be willing to ask for it and receive it. But the plant was willing to ask for it, and you were willing to receive that, and you were also willing to make a choice based on the information that you received from the plant. So it's like there is a whole different world of possibilities and a whole different way of being, that you can literally have everything and anything. It's like, what are you asking for?
And to quote Gary Douglas, the founder of Access, and I heard him talking about this the other day, about, consciousness makes your entire life a lot more ease-filled. So, you know, consciousness is the willingness to allow everything to be as it is, with no judgment, with no right or wrong. It's just consciousness begets more consciousness. So if you're making the choice to be conscious, you know, where everything exists and nothing is judged, look at the areas of your life that you are judging. Is it surviving or thriving? And what different choice, like Tiff said, what different choice can you make to have more consciousness with that part of your life? And consciousness creates everything to be a lot more ease-filled. It's like, do you truly desire ease? Because that's the antithesis of survival and fighting and struggling and, you know, resisting and reacting to everything, because pretty much everything at the moment is putting people into survival mode, not letting them connect to and acknowledge and be aware of the fact that they're the source, they're the creator. And if you really tap into that I am the source and I'm the creator, right? What would I like to create with my finances? What would I like to create with my body? What would I like to create with my relationships? Choice. Choice.
And when we're and when we're going along in that, you know, and money's a big one, I think, when we're going along in that, you know, survival mode of, oh, I've just got to like do what I need to do to get the money that I need to, you know, that's survival mode. So, you know, it's like, what is possible beyond that you've never considered? And, you know, it's like Viv and I just, you know, we also, you know, there's so much more available for us as well. And with whatever we've, you know, sort of played with and that sort of thing, it's like, we would love all of you guys to have that. But, you know, I also get that it's like, well, some people don't want ease. Like, how could you prove that you're being a good person in the world or doing a good job or that you're successful at what you do if you weren't like working hard and, you know, running around like a crazy person and, you know, doing all this stuff? And it's not that you can't, I mean, you can still have a lot going on in your world and have an amazing sense of ease and possibilities and have all sorts of things contribute to you in ways that, you know, it just is I want to say magical when you start to open up to and ask for, you know, it's like, what could my life be like if I was willing to desire this idea of thriving and having ease and having possibilities? And it doesn't even need to be about consciousness if that's not your thing. It's just, you can have anything. Like, what would you like?
Yeah, and, you know, for those of you that aren't familiar with Access, the mantra of Access Consciousness is all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. So, you know, one tool for today is saying 10 times in the morning, 10 times in the evening, all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. And you're inviting those elements of ease and joy and glory and just the fluidity. You know, people talk about synchronicity or flow or whatever it is, but you're actually inviting consciously those energies to start contributing to your world. And like Tiff said, all you've got to do is ask and receive. So if you want to learn more about how to thrive beyond survival, you're very welcome to join Tiff and I at 7 o'clock tonight, Australian Eastern Standard Time. We can post the link into the registration process tonight. It's $50 for tonight's call. And we've also got 2 other calls coming up in another fortnight and then another fortnight after that. So we'd love to have you on board if you'd like to thrive and have more ease. Come and play.
Yes, absolutely. Lovely. Well, thank you. And thank you, ladies and gents, for joining us. And what else is possible?
What else is possible? See you tonight, Tiff. Mwah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.